IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. Welcome to a terrible evolved situation where we had a show once called Cyrus Says, won 166 awards in just 14 days across 453 countries and 31 continents. That moved into a show called Cock and Bull because of a situation that I couldn't control. Now this has changed, and this Cock and Bull has now become No Wi-Fi Required, which is our present show. To be a 10 to 15 minute show, and it's only about EMA questions. The reason for this is very simple. Amit has sprained his finger, and so will not be able to use the keyboard. So there's no point getting in there. We can't touch anything. I rephrase that. Touch anything as in the keyboard. And Silvery had a shampoo day yesterday, which means his mom says he has to spend the whole day using the conditioner and the various chemicals that are attached to his hair to make sure it doesn't fall like some other members of his family. So these are very personal things. I don't want to get into it. I want to point fingers because I would not have a problem with either of these issues. But each person is different. But what we do have are AMA questions because the people that love us, they don't actually exist, but some people actually like us slightly, and so they do send questions in, and we must respect that.
पेश खिदमत है आपकी शान में हमारे अंजुमन से. Hi, I am Sadaf.
And I'm Arshit. खाने का इतिहास, economics, policy, psychology, सब है मेन्यू पे.
Only on the Nankali podcast every Wednesday. सिर्फ IVM podcast app या वेबसाइट पर या फिर जहां से भी आप अपने पॉडकास्ट सुनते हो.
The first question on No Wi-Fi Required is from Aarti Bhatia, and this is what she has to say. Hey Cyrus, you are the greatest man that ever... Okay, I made that up. That's not there. Hey Cyrus, it just seems like problems never stop. We're going through COVID, lockdowns and lockdowns, lockdown pay lockdown. There was a scare of swine flu. There was some news of killer hornets. I did hear that, but obviously if you take certain medication at wrong times. And now we have a cyclone Taukte spoiling our plans to even go to a grocery store, which in any case is only open 7 to 11 RT, so we're honestly not going to really visit that thanks to this great lockdown. Why do you think Mother Nature is so pissed off at us? Have you seen what human babies look like, RT? Have you seen them? Most of them are large, ugly heads, stare at you unconditionally for hours at a time without blinking. Obviously, Mother Nature is pissed off. This is what we evolved into, or de-evolved into, or evolved from, one of the above. I mean, the point is that people are saying, on a slightly more serious and sad note, that this is Kali Yuga. I'm not saying that. A lot of people are saying that to me, and I don't just mean people from different parts of society. I've had a taxi driver tell me this in the period between lockdown 1 and lockdown 2. I've had people on the show saying this. I've got astrologers and so-called professional men of wisdom who have all been proved to be morons since you could predict corona or the cyclone. I've had them all talk about this as well. So that's true, but you can't help feeling negative and nervous when these things spiral like the way they have been in terms of bad tidings. But you haven't spoken about one other terrible thing. They always come in threes. So we've had lockdown 1, lockdown 2, and this COVID pandemic. Consider that one unending saga. Then we had number 2, which is the cyclone, which I'm now sitting here in Alibag because there's no Wi-Fi and there's nothing else in recording this program, because now I know what it's like to live in the 17th century. All you have to do is leave the big cities of India and you get into the 17th century very fast. But there's the third one, and this for me is the final blow. It's Brutus's stab of Caesar. 8-2 Brutus, then Diet Caesar. I would have said that, but in Latin it sounded more encouraging. Sadly, I speak of the IPL being cancelled. This slap on the face of commerce, of sport, of culture, of everything else, for me was the last straw that broke the camel's back, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, maybe it is. Maybe Mother Nature hates us. I don't know. Maybe Father Nature is the problem, because mothers have always been good to me. But whatever it is, life sucks. I wish I could give you some good news, but I can't. All I can tell you is that I know 4 Arthis, and now thanks to you, I know 5. Okay, let's move on to the next question. It's from Sushil Maharana. He says, hey Cyrus, love your show. This time I didn't make it up. He actually said that. He probably said that as a bribe, and I respect that. Say something nice about the host, and then he talks about you. This works in most cases except when you praise somebody's wife. Generally, I find that they feel very uncomfortable, especially when you say, hey, Rita's got such a lovely body. You're such a lucky man. And, the guy doesn't talk to you after that. I know, what's wrong with you, Vikram? There's no need to behave like that. Sorry, that's a personal detail. Please do not even think about that. Leave that aside and move back to Sushil Maharana. What is your memory of India winning the 2011 World Cup? Were you nervous? Did you celebrate it? Was it like India's Independence Day movement as a country was on the street celebrating? It was definitely one of the 110 happiest moments of my life, says unmarried Sushil Maharana. Yeah, but see, I can't answer the question about whether it was like India's Independence Day moment because as old as I am, 47, I wasn't around. And I don't even know if anybody was really in the streets. In certain areas here and there, maybe. But the 2011 World Cup, I spent with a pharmacy company. The date had already been given. Nobody thought India would reach the final. Nobody bothered to check it. The date was given in Feb. The match, the final happened on April 2nd, if I remember correctly. So this was like really ridiculous. We were all there, all dying to see this. We had to go through a whole corporate presentation with speakers and all that, and we couldn't get out of it. And everybody's on the phone trying to find out what happened. By the time I escaped from there, got into the car and moved to the studio where we wanted to shoot a special episode for the week that wasn't and put it up, I reached as Dhoni came into bat. So the final quarter, you could say, of the game, but the quarter that swung the game completely India's way. And yeah, it was a beautiful moment. It ended with me hugging Matosh, and I almost kissed him because I was so happy. But luckily, I saw Matosh from 2 inches away, and he's even uglier from 2 inches away than he is from 18, 20 inches away. So I was able to break that in time. But yeah, what a memory. I wore my lucky underwear after that for a week, I remember. No, maybe 2 weeks. I can't, maybe till the next World Cup. Memory eludes me. Yes, Sushil, I hope I answered your question. I wish Amit and Silvery were there to give us their versions. Amit despises the game, and Silvery has no understanding of sports, so they would have given us a nice spin. Sadly, they aren't there. In the meantime, Cred has just called me up and said, will you say something nice about us? Let me tell you about Cred. Cred and I go a long way. Cred, in fact, has helped me send both my children abroad, which is a figment of my imagination because they're both still here. Cred is the best club I've ever been a part of. That's right. Two clubs I am part of, I don't want to mention. A highly exclusive club of trustworthy individuals who get rewarded for just paying their credit card bills on time. The word reward in our society is very rare with the cyclone and the pandemic and everything else on our back. So enjoy this. Where has Cred been all my life? Shouldn't it have come sooner? I would have had to marry my wife. This is the copywriter's decision to say this, not me, Aisha, if you're listening. I wouldn't have had to marry my wife. I really wouldn't have. It's too late for me now. It's done. But it wouldn't have happened if I had Cred. Those were my lines. I just thought I would give the copywriter a little bit of support from my side as well. I was one-sided. But don't miss out. Just download Cred. And now, with the voiceover voice, just download Cred. Alright, back to the AMAs. Aarti is done. Sushil is done. Let's see if we can fit in Supriya Toletti, who says Sputnik 5 or V may be approved soon in India. Will this shot instantaneously give you the ability to speak Russian, wrestle bears, and develop a higher resistance to vodka? Asking for a friend. Right, so let's just, I've got the Sputnik here in front of me. I take it, I remove the cover, I take the syringe and I plunge it into my shoulder, I pull it out. Yasanаю Paruski, which for you who don't know is I speak Russian. Yeah, it's a very good point, Supriya. Who knows what will happen? You know, we joke about these things that you take Sputnik and you'll be able to have resistance to vodka or become a wrestler or powerlifter or what have you. But nobody's thinking about what's going to happen to all you people in 5 years after taking all these different vaccines. Because nobody has the side effect list. I want to do a whole show when that comes out. All the side effects that have happened to different people. Men who've become women, men who've grown 6 inches shorter, men who've lost their organs, a person whose kidney is now where his liver is. I don't know. All kinds of interesting things are going to happen. So, yeah, I can't wait for Sputnik to come out. Sputnik V or Sputnik 5 is the question we ask everybody. So if you have the answer to that, please write in and tell us. We'll ignore your question and never bring it up. Question number 4. Nihar Mehta. Hi Siras. Hope you are doing well. My question is, as someone who's in the USA and at the crossroads, just making us feel bad because it's better there than it is here, deciding whether to move back to India or not, I have an outside perspective of India's economic situation. He cares. In the last 10 to 15 years, we have seen many people migrating to Australia, Canada, Singapore, etc., in addition to the USA, of course. So do you think offering dual citizenship by India may be profitable as an outcome from an economic standpoint, rather than just relying on Make in India? Oh, that's a slight real criticism of the government. Because this may increase an influx of money flow, ideas and trade. Because of course, that's what it's all about. Liberalism has to just not be a philosophy in the head where, you don't abuse people because of their color, creed, race. It has to be economic liberalism. I think Jisko Jaisa should flow. Money should come and go from all sides. I'm all for dual, triple and quadruple citizenship. I'll put it this way. And I think you're spot on, Nihar. Let's give you support here. You have two parents, mother and father. You don't choose, I'm my mother's son, I'm my father's son. You're happy with your two parents, or with your full family, or with your damn community, whatever the hell you are. So the point being, if you can manage with the plurality there, why can you manage with plurality in the citizenship sphere? It's not a biggie. I think it's a no-brainer. Let's do it. Let's get dual citizenship and more. Why be restricted? Variety is the spice of life. That's what the tax man is going to tell my wife, because that's the other question, where to pay. Okay, I hope that answers your question, but we're running out of time and battery. I'd just like to say thank you to everybody for listening to this wonderful show called No Wi-Fi Required. I may have got the title wrong because I can't remember anything 10 minutes ago. Whatever I've said 10 minutes ago just disappears. In fact, I can't remember what I said just now as regards to the 10-minute sentence. But this is going to happen from time to time because living in the wilderness, this is going to be a technical issue that we're going to have. So we'll have to do this. But we'll encourage people to write their AMAs and give them to us as quickly as possible. We have one interesting one we want to do all month now. All month is whatever's left of the month, 2 weeks. And that is, if you can, it's called confession. So you have to just confess something very interesting which you've never told anyone else before. It has to be never told to anyone before. That's the main thing. It could be frivolous and silly, like I like to scratch in restaurants, the privates. Whether people can see or not. Or it could be something really interesting like, scandal, money, some relationship with a relative or somebody else's friend or whatever. I don't know. It should come from you. It should be honest and it should be not known to anyone. And we will give you a prize. I've spoken to Craig. It's going to be huge. It's going to be big. It's going to be, as Trump says, really huge. Huger than huge. All right. Cheers, everybody. Have a good day. Enjoy the cyclone. We'll see you soon. Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank the sponsors on the network this week, Cred, TheWholeTruthFoods.com, and Seat Tires. We really do appreciate the support. So the last year's been tough for all of us, and the second wave of COVID really hit us badly. To help those affected by the pandemic in India, the podcasting community has come together under the Pod for Change banner to raise funds through an exclusive NGO partner, Give India. Join IVM and Pod for Change as we look to make a positive impact in the life of those affected by COVID-19. You can go to tinyurl.com/podforchangeindia, and remember, somebody could really use the help. And now back to the promo. On the Simplified podcast, the gang explains the oxygen crisis happening in the country and tells us the various measures being taken to tackle it. On States of Anarchy, Amsani Hariharan talks about how the geopolitical relationships shaped COVID response and the world order. As Indians, we're all familiar with acid reflux or heartburn, given the spicy food we consume. On The Habit Coach, Ashton has some simple solutions to counter that. Vatsama Moria explores the iconic neighborhood of Dadar and tells us its connection to outer space in Postcards from Nowhere. It was Dangle time on The Fighting Goat, as hosts Somesh and Arjun were joined by unbeaten MMA fighter and Commonwealth gold medalist Ritu Fogart. The traveling professor Siddharth Deshmukh shares examples of various innovations that came up during the COVID times and helped us deal with the situation. And with that, we hope to see you again next week.
Whether you're an established sports person or a budding one, or simply a sports enthusiast, join us, Tanvi and Shlok.
We are two passionate pro badminton players talking policy, mindset and everything sport.
So tune in to The Millennial Athlete every Monday.
Only on the IVM Podcast Network.
Trust us, it's gonna be lit.